Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you don't know, this is the first time I live. My name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I am the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated. My beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. The ATRs are the African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. To each one of you guys that been following me, I've been mostly on my YouTube account, but I wanted to come on this TikTok account and share some love because so many of you guys haven't seen me in a while. I've been recuperating. I want to thank God for so many of you guys that have been following me, being a part of my process. One of the things I want to talk about on today is on this Sunday, as above, so below. We're talking about sun energy. One of the things, I've been in magic and spirituality ever since I was a child. I am 53 years age on today, on this year. And one of the things I want to say significantly to all of you that are either in the ATRs or you are energetically connecting with your ancestors, or you're in the church and you're tapping into the spirit. I want to share some things with you in my process, being a practitioner in the ATRs, being a crown santero, being initiated in Palo, different ventures that I have embarked into when it came to spirituality. And one of the things that I see oftentimes, and especially when we're being challenged, is that people like to waver. People like to waver when it comes to situations in their life that are not going the direction that they want them to go, or you're not hearing what you want to hear. You're not seeing what you want to see. And a lot of times when it comes down to average black people, because I talk to melanated people, a lot of times that if you ask the average person, do they believe in God? They'll tell you yes. But the average person wavers when it comes down to the promises of said God or goddess. And these are the things that I try to get people to understand when it comes down to spirituality. When you want to see an outcome, God will give you an expected end if you have the expectation. So whether you're lighting candles, whether you're burning incense, whether you're doing affirmations, whether you're doing decrees, whether you're doing calling those things that be not as though they were, you still need to understand how not to waver. How not, the Bible says that Abraham wavered not in faith. A lot of times the things that you say you believe in, a lot of times you are not basing those things in tried and true, things that have been proven, things that have allowed you to weather the seasons. There's four seasons. And a lot of times, depending on the season, is depending on how you operate in your spirituality and in your faith. A lot of times, economically, we are not in a place to really express our spirituality. And I had the opportunity to be raised up in a very spiritual background. I've had the opportunity to be around very spiritual people and see how their spiritual life coincides with their natural life. A lot of people don't understand that your spiritual life really reflects on your natural life. And I personally, when I got into my 50s, I started having health issues. I always knew I was anemic. I've always knew that. My mom is anemic. My dad's anemic. My brothers and sisters are anemic. But we have variations of blood disorders. And I never really had issues until I got in my 50s. I'm 53. Good morning unto you. And this is what I want y'all to understand. There are situations in your life that you may be the reason why you're in that situation. And then there's other situations where you're not the reason. You're just in a situation that you have to deal with. And and let me tell y'all something. All my life, until I got into this situation with my health, I've always been able to pray, speak a word, snap my fingers, like literally snap my fingers, pain go away. When I'm praying for people, my spoken word will come to pass. Laying of hands will come to pass. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. And when you live a life that pretty much a charmed life, that you never had to sit in anything long. And this is what got me. When I started going through this situation, and I haven't even been through this situation a full year. And that's why this is important. No matter what I embarked into, I never thought that God was not going to move for me. I didn't understand what I was going through. I also didn't always see my way. And this is what I want Black melanated people to get. If you're going to get involved in this, thank you so for the gifts and the share. If you're going to get involved into something, whether it's Christianity, Islam, whether it's Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, you need to be anchored to the point where you're not wavering. Just because you don't have all the answers is no reason to waver. Just because things don't look like you want them to look is no reason to waver. Waver is being shaken in the foundation of what you believe in. I want most people, somebody said, good to see you. Good to see you as well. I want people to know something, that through what I've gone through in my 50s have taught me to appreciate the Rhema word. But what I sat in made me appreciate the logo word. The Rhema word is the spoken word of God. The logo word is the written word of God. Hey, Brittany, how you doing, baby? I want to speak to people, whether you in the church or whether you not out the church, but you still got a lot of church teachings and you still believe in a God. You may not believe in how the church operated in your particular situation, but you still got a lot of faith out of this church. And if you're in the ATRs, if you're into affirmations, if you're into decreeing things, if you're really in hey, the Cancer in the house. Thank you, Cassandra. It is really important that you don't waver in what you believe in, and that being anchored in tested information, tested truth. I don't want people out here believing that Jesus gonna come back and save you. You're the Christ. You're the I am. When they told you in the church that you are the church, the building is not the church, that is a true statement. But it also, when I walked this journey, I realized that a lot of us, because I'm a very independent person, when it comes to God causing people to give into your bosom, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, we struggle with that. Interdependence. When we want to grow, we want to develop, we want to aspire to be greater a version of ourselves, we need to understand why certain things are being taught to us, being shown to us. When I was going through my health issue, I'm still going through it. I'm coming out of it. I'm not out of the woods. One of the things I wanted to be is transparent. So I shared a lot of information that a lot of leaders would not have shared. I divulged the things that I was going through when it came to my health, because I wanted people to see that I really believe in the things that I was saying. It is easy to hide in the shadows or hide in the dark when it comes to you're going through things physically. One of the things that I'm very grateful. Good morning. You got my Virgo and my Leo, Libra in here. Thank you so much. One of the things that I wanted to do is show people how to believe God even through adversity. This is something people got, especially when it comes to your health, your finances and your health. These two situations in your life can really turn your life upside down or inside out. And one of the things that I try to share with people that has been journeying with me through this process, that I'm not just calling on Jehovah Jireh because I heard about him. I'm not calling on El Shaddai because I heard about it. I'm not calling on Elohim because I heard about it. I have studied, I have tested, I have went through, I've actually learned those names being spoken through other people that watch God move through those divine names. Y'all know that I practice the 72 names of God, the Kabbalah. And when I'm talking about Jehovah Jireh, I'm talking about the provision of God. When I talk about Jehovah Nisi, I'm talking about the victory or the banner of God. When I talk about Jehovah Rapha, my healer, that was a big thing that I had to endure on a day-to-day basis. Let me tell y'all something. In my 50s, I would have, in my opinion, I would have preferred to go through this when I was younger. But nevertheless, I'm going through it in my 50s. Health issues, I never gave up. I never stopped taking my herbs. I came up under a doctor care, my hematologist. They specialize in blood disorders and anemia and that sort. And so I've never been a person that I trusted the hospital. I've never really trusted doctors. But I have orishas that guide the doctors. So just like in everything, you got good and bad. You got people that get. So I prayed about who I had to govern me and to provide me with information. I'm a person that I have to know what I'm dealing with. And in the beginning, I was ignorant about anemia, the blood disorder, and that it caught me off guard because I don't really have a bad diet. I've always, since the age of 13, I've been in the herbs and vitamins and things of that sort. And so only thing I really did, I wasn't really good at drinking water. I'm better at it now, but I was really bad when it came down to drinking water and hydration. But let me get here. When I started going through my situation, one of the things my family did and people around me, like, especially when you're dealing with a spiritual person, quoting scripture to them, like, I know the call on Jehovah Rapha, but I'm using Jehovah Rapha moving instantly. I was in a situation that I had to go through the process. And when you are accustomed to God moving almost immediately or not very long after you prayed or you declared or you spoke, and I had to sit into that situation and I couldn't see my way. I didn't understand. It is different when you're sitting in a seat of sickness or some type of ailment that has your body acting out of sorts. And when you're used to being able to get up and do the things that you naturally do. I didn't even know. I was at a point through this process that I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even walk and stand up. I'm walking now. I walked this morning. But when I went through that situation and I was going through that situation, I had to sit in that thing. And that was really, really bothering me because I still was praying for people. I still was doing work for people. I still was encouraging people. And I was yet myself in a situation like Joseph. I was in jail, but I was setting other people free from jail. I was in a situation that I had to sit in my discomfort. And that's what I want to talk to you guys. When you're in that place, when you don't have the answers, or you don't have all the answers, when you don't have the support, or you don't have the support you need, let me tell y'all something. And that's one thing I have learned. And I tell people this. Never try to tell God who to put on the field to help you. When you pray or you petition or you write your petition down, or you light your candle, you burn your incense, you meditate, whatever you're doing, whatever vehicle you choose to release energy, you do not tell God who to put on the field to score the point. There might be some white people. There may be some black people. There may be some Spanish people. It could be anybody that God chooses, just like he commanded the widow. And I want y'all to remember this. In any form of manifestation, their spirit operates in the invisible world. You don't know who God gonna touch, their heart or their mind, to move for you, to stand for you, to speak for you, to guide you, to give you information. I watch God every single day maneuver people to get me in position of victory. I was talking to my doctor Friday, and he was telling me how good my numbers are, how things he's really happy about. I told him, you happy, I'm happy. Because they had projected me to be in that situation for a year. 6 to 8 months to a year. And it's only been 2-3 months that God has already brought me through. And I'm seeing the results. But this is the thing I learned through what I'm going through and what I want to encourage you. Don't stop taking your herbs. When things don't look like they're working, don't stop doing the things that will give you the greatest possibility of the outcome you're looking for. I think that a lot of times when things are not going the direction that we want them to go, we waver. We stop praying like we used to pray. That can be the 23rd Psalm. That can be Psalm 91. That can be Psalm 100. Whatever you're doing, you are journaling. You are writing things down. These are the things that kept you in a form of sanity. And what happens because things start to detour, things to be start deviating from the direction that you want, you start wavering. You start not praying like you're praying. You start burning your incense like you're burning. You stop burning your candles, whatever you were doing, because things are not moving in the direction or like you want them. Let me tell y'all something. Through my whole process until lately, I was getting good reports, but I wasn't seeing movement. But I didn't waver. All of the doctors I went to, I was not going to be like the woman with the issue of blood that spent all she had through doctors. I've always put God first. But this was a particular situation that even though God was first, I didn't have the answers. The people that were working on me medically, they didn't have the answer. They were just trying to find out what it wasn't. They were testing me for this and that. You know how when you got insurance and stuff. So I was tested for this and that. And when I started coming to the knowledge of what I was dealing with, the type of anemia I was dealing with, and my health was declining, and I wasn't looking like my normal self. Not to other people. I'm talking about to me. I did not waver. Good morning. What are you talking? I want y'all to understand, whether it's economics, whether it's financial, whether it's relationship, whether it's children, whether it's jobs, whether it's the economy. Let me tell y'all something. Never waver when you're believing God for something. Don't say it if you don't believe it. Don't decrease something just because it's in the Bible. Don't read something because it's in the book of Psalms. Don't participate in something because somebody is saying that it's I was over here in this revival and this prophet or this apostle or this teacher or this anointed man or woman, or I was over here and I seen this Tata, this Mambo, this Hugon, this Santero. Miracles happen when you decide your outcome. No matter how much I had to adjust to get my outcome, I adjusted. I want you to think, when you're on a journey and a path has been laid for you, all you have to be is led by spirit, whether it's ancestors, whether it's guardian angel, whether it's Orisha, Loa, and Pungo, Moreto, whatever it is, your guardian in spirit, your human spirit. When you are being led and you are being directed, there's a reason why you have to go through the things you have to go through. One thing I was told, I say, they'll tell you, keep living. I would have never thought, with all the experience that I have, with all the testimonies that I have, with all the outcomes that I have seen, whether it was legal, what the judge done said, it got reversed. What the doctor said got reversed. I was always big on not being afraid of a challenge. When people come to me about certain situations and circumstances, I'm always there to give them an answer for the hope that is in me. This is something that I want to encourage you. If you are going to be spiritual, don't waver. Don't get off the train before you get to the destination. Don't get off the plane. Don't abandon ship. Don't miss the bus. All because you got to go a different route. If you ever been on any bus, because I rode the bus when I was a kid. Sometimes the bus got to make stops that are not your stops. In life, you might have to go through certain things that has nothing to do with your destination, but to prepare you for your destination. And a lot of times we think we should not be experiencing certain things, but it's necessary that we experience those things, that when we get to our destination, we can abide. When the word said, if you abide in my word and I ask what you will, you got to get to a place where you can abide. You got to get to a place where you can believe without wavering. You have to get to a place where you don't need encouragement and confirmation on a constant basis in order for you to believe or believe in God bringing something to pass. I talk to a lot of people and they're quick to say they believe God. What God? What God? What spirit? What force are you believing in? And then when you come to that place and your faith is being challenged, your belief is being challenged, don't waver. It is easy to say you trust God when things are going right. When you feel like you're in a good space economically, financially. When you feel like you're in a good place with your health, your relationship, your family. But what happens, like Job, when you are being tested and you're being tested openly? This is why I want a lot of y'all spiritual people and that claim to be spiritual. When you get tested, not only privately, but you get tested in the open. And everybody see what you're going through. When you can't hide what you're going through. When you can't disguise what you're going through. Do you stand still and see the salvation of God? Do you stand still and see God bring you out? Or you start arguing with your friends. You start arguing with people that are watching you go through your situation, because now your situation is obvious. They ain't got to be in your business to see your business. What happens when you start going through where people actually can witness what you're going through? They ain't for you. They ain't against you. They're just an audience. They're watching you go through your trial. And there are certain things, especially when you got health issues or you got financial issues, all of a sudden it becomes a public display. And people Watch how you handle your situation. When the fear comes in, you got to have something concrete to dispel that fear. When you feel shaky, you don't waver. This is why I believe in people taking out time to gain foundation, teaching, whatever you get into, understanding how it really, really works. I tell people all the time, learn how magic works. Learn how energy, frequency, and vibration works. You want to boast about your Christianity. You want to boast about your being Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria. Those are nothing but magical systems. How you operate in those systems has a lot to do with what you know, what you function in, and what you understand. If you want to, thank you for tapping the stream. I appreciate that. If you want a lot of things to work out in your favor, you have to commit in the beginning. Before you even start the journey, your mind got to be made up. Your heart needs to be fixed. There's a lot of preparation in order to not only reach your destiny, but be able to abide in the things that God has prepared for you in that destiny. I have more respect for my healing abilities and my relationship with God because I had to sit in this situation. It wasn't a quick fix. I didn't come out overnight, even though I'm coming out better than most people expected, including my physicians. But at the same time, I still did not waver in my belief in what God was doing in my life, even though I did not understand it. When I was telling my saints and my tribe how God was taking me in another direction. And I was telling them, if you think this is too much, what's going on in my ministry, you have a right to get off of this train. Let me explain this. Everybody is not going to believe God like you believe God, or God did not speak to them to walk a certain walk. And you got to be willing to let people depart. I'm going to say that again. You have to be willing to travel that road alone or with the people that God designed or resonate with what you're doing. Let me tell y'all this. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it with clarity. Like Peter, he asked the Lord, he said, if it be thou, bid me to come. There was 12 disciples on their ship. They all were familiar with Christ, Yahshua. But Peter was the only one that asked to walk on that water. Everybody, I don't care how familiar they are with said traditions, whether Christianity, Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, everybody ain't gonna go out on that water. Everybody is not going to go into danger. Peter stepped out of the boat in this concept, and he began to walk towards Christ. And the Bible said that he began to look around, and he seen the winds blowing. The wind was pushing, and he began to sink. But let me tell y'all something what Peter did not waver in. Peter, even though he began to sink because he got distracted, he never wavered in whose power got him on that water. Because he said immediately, Lord, save me. See, when you walking with the ancestors, when you walking with the Rishas, when you walking with the Loas, you still do not waver whose power is saving you, protecting you, providing for you. That sometimes you get distracted by the things that are going on around you. And you begin to sink. But because you don't waver in what power you believe in and what you're trusting in, it rescues you. This is what's important. He knew who called him on that situation. I know that's right. Let me tell y'all something. You can't believe God in a way when your faith is built on what you heard. Peter had already saw God move. Peter was already destined to build the church of Christ. He was already prepared to do to walk a certain destiny, unlike the other disciples. And when you're called to walk in a greater measure, you have to go through greater things. You have to be tested in ways that other people are not tested. This is why I don't believe in comparing yourself to other people. This is why I don't believe in you looking at somebody else in their lanes and how they driving or how whatever type of pace they may have, and then compare yourself to how they're moving and what's happening in their life. When you get tried, and you get tried in the open, because Peter was on display in front of the other 11 disciples. When you are on the display in your own spiritual ATRs, when you have to be seen or tested by people that say they believe in the same things that you believe in, that's a whole nother ball game. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. This is what's important that I want to share with people. Now, I've been in spirituality pretty much all my life. I don't know a life without magic. I don't know a life without conjure. I don't know. I've had to go through some situations and some things I don't understand. Some directions and paths you don't know. All you got is instruction. When you are being instructed like Elijah was being instructed, he said they told him to go, and he had prepared and commanded a widow to feed him. You don't know who God done set up to bring you through. You don't know who God done touched their heart, that they intended, like the widow woman, she intended to eat that cake and her son and die. Somebody already got their purpose or why they gonna do certain things, but because it is time for you to move to the next level, because it's time for you to be provided for, because it's time for you to be protected, they have a change of heart, a change of direction, even though it is in the purpose of God. This is why I encourage people, don't try to control the players on the field. These are the things that cause you to be stressed, anxiety. This is the kind of stuff that gets you distracted. Your job is not. Thank you for the love. Appreciate that. It is not for you to control the players on the field. You have to run the play. You hoping that everybody else doing what they supposed to do. This is why you hear obedience is better than sacrifice. Because this is what people got to understand. You're always attached to somebody else's outcome. What you do when you think you helping somebody, you really helping yourself. The energy by which you do things, sow things, contribute things, has a lot to do with your outcome. And when we don't look at things from a bigger horizon, we don't understand that the things you do today can affect your tomorrow. All I'm trying to encourage people that when you're going through things and you're dealing with situations that you don't understand, when you're dealing with situations that you can't see your way, when you're dealing with situations that seem abnormal, not something you're accustomed to, do not waver. Do not waver in what you trust in. If you trust in the name of the Lord, continue to trust in the name of the Lord. If you believe in the book of Psalms, let me tell y'all something. I think the worst thing that people do when they leave Christianity or leave the church or do not no longer deal with the church, you let other people put things on you that did not bring you through. And what I mean by this, in the Bible, it talks about when David went up against Goliath and they put the armor of Saul on him. And he realized really quickly before he went out to engage with Goliath that this don't feel right. I never give up the things that has been proven to give me victory. I don't waver with that. I never allow situation and circumstances like David. He knew that his slingshot delivered the bear and a lion in his hand. He knew that his skill brought him that far as God's anointed. A lot of times you get involved into different faith, different religions, and you start allowing people to put on things that weigh you down. I'm going to say this again. Allowing people to tell you what they think is good for you can weigh you down. It's nothing wrong with getting good counsel, but it's something wrong when you're constantly asking people for their opinions. People will put information on you. People will put scenarios on you, will start weighing your mind down, will get you into a place where you start wavering. And you don't want to waver when it comes to your expected end. I am still recovering, but I'm recovering proficiently. I'm being restored soundly. I can see my way now. But even when I couldn't see my way, I did not waver in the things I believe in. A lot of times when people start going through and they start being challenged, especially if they being challenged in the open, they stop going to church. They stop practicing their spirituality. They stop doing the things that got them in the situation in the first place. This is when you hear people say, you don't know if God bragging on you. One of the things that I had to learn, because I haven't been in the Santo that long, and being in the Ocha and Santeria and Lakumi, the Orisha faith, I had to learn how the Orishas work. Just like I had to learn how angels work. Just like I had to learn how my ancestors work. Just like I had to learn how God worked. Just like I had to learn how the Impungos work. A lot of us don't take our time to actually see how things work. It's like going to a job. If you want to excel in that job or that business, you got to learn how it works, so you'll know how to function. When you want to learn how to be proficient in your spirituality, you need to learn how things function. Just like when we do teach about the planetary alignments, you got to learn how the planets or those stars function, so you will be able to benefit off of the energy. That's like today is Sunday. Then you got to understand how the sun functions, how it operates, so you can benefit off of the energy, the frequency, and the vibration. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The love. These are the things that are important to become more proficient and more stable when it comes down to spirituality. I'm 53 years old. I've been doing magic since I was a child. I've been doing spirituality. I've been encouraging people, healing people, breaking yokes, curses. I've been doing that for years. Day in, day out. On the job, I'm retired now. And still functioning in my spirituality. And this is the thing, I'm going through a health situation publicly. When you find yourself, when your marriage problems become public, when your relationship with your family becomes public, when your firing becomes public, when your warfare becomes public, you need to stay stable, not wavering in what you believe in God for. And when people don't teach you how to deal with different situations in your life, a lot of times you make the wrong decision because you never had any guidance of how to deal with certain situations, certain pressures. How people can bait you into certain arguments or bait you into trying to prove something. When you got to go through a trial, that's between you and God, between you and your ancestors, between you and your spirits. That's not between other people. Thank you about Boss Sprays. And these are the things that I share because I want people that are in spirituality or want to walk their spiritual journey to know some of the things that you have to deal with when it comes to spirituality. I feel like a lot of people, for various reasons, try to glamorize spirituality, whether it's being in the church, whether it's being in the ATRs. What about the dark aspects of the situation that you're dealing with and in these ATRs? And you need to know how to deal with it when it's going bad, when it's going left, when it's when things are falling. What about when you get to the top of the mountain and you fall? How do you get back up again? See, we need to know all these things. When you find yourself in a hardship, how do you get through those situations? When you find yourself stuck, how do you get through these situations? This is the stuff that we need to learn and learn how to come through these situations. Psychologically, how to maintain. Emotionally, how to maintain. How to recoup and recover. Knowing when to address certain things. All of these are, I call these life skills. I feel like a lot of people, especially Black American, that we lack life skill. We got skills when it comes to our jobs, our careers, but when it comes to life, we lack a lot of skill. And those skills come through wisdom, through guidance. Those skills come from people being a cloud of witness and sharing information to you. Because everything you deal with, you can come through a lot better if you listen to somebody that done been through it already. I'm here to help encourage those that are in situations right now that you are being tested. You're being tested openly. You're being challenged openly. People are starting to hear about what you're going through. People got all kind of opinions of what you should do and what you should not be doing. Don't waver. Don't waver. Make sure that you're doing what, like David. I came in here with my slingshot. I'm leaving out here with my slingshot. Don't allow people, because you're going through, to start putting things on your mind, put things on your heart, and then having you go a alternate direction than you were going when you were being led by the Spirit, ancestors, God, angels, Impungo, Moreto, whatever was guiding you and had you walking on that water. Whatever had you coming out that ship and walking on that water. Do not forget the power that brought you out the ship. Don't waver once you start walking on that water. I know you are looking at what's going on around you, but do not waver. You're going to see what the end going to bring if you don't waver. And you got to understand that people will, whether they intentionally do it or unintentionally do it, they will start putting their ideas and their thoughts on you. And this mind, the mind of Christ, the illumination of Christ, the mindset of Christ is, he said, I do nothing except what I've seen of my Father. I want y'all to really think about that. We talking about the sun energy, being a light, and you being the light that's set up on a hill. He said, I do nothing except that I've seen of my Father. So we have to be guided. We have to pay attention to the cloud of witnesses that are set before us. And we benefit when we understand what is being spoken to us, what's being guided for us, whether it come through dreams, whether it come through a spoken word, whether it come through audible sounds in your head or the spirit speaking in your aura, don't let different terminologies, don't allow people utilizing verbiage, don't allow different languages to make you waver. Remember this, everything works by energy, frequency, and vibration. Whether you speak praise ye the Lord in Spanish, Congo affirmation, it doesn't matter, because it's all energy, it's all frequency, it's all vibration. I use this example. Chicken is chicken. Whether it's fried chicken, whether it's rotisserie chicken, whether it's smothered chicken, whether it's orange chicken, whether it's sesame seed chicken, chicken is chicken. Your season, because of your culture of how you use energy, frequency, and vibration, whether it's an E5 voodoo, because everybody in Christianity don't believe alike. Everybody in Ifa don't believe alike. Everybody that's in Palo don't believe alike. Never think that you're going into something different. It may be new to you, but it's not new. There's nothing new up under the sun. And every time we think that we're going through something that nobody else is going through, we eventually find out other people dealing with some of the same things that we dealt with or dealing with. And that's the beautiful thing about it. God will put nothing upon you that you can't bear. Just because you don't think you can handle it, don't mean that you can handle it. And that's what I was going through this situation. It was showing me that I had strength that I did not know I had, because I never had to go through it like that. See, you can experience healing in such a way, but it don't mean that you done experience every type of healing. And because you, say for instance, you came up, they use olive oil and they lay hands on you and then you get healed. That's all you know. But somebody over here, somebody lay hands on them and spoke the word. Don't think because of your experiences that it limits the experiences of other people. And that's what helped broaden my mind to not just divine healing, but healing of with the herbs, healing with the mind. My thing was, a lot of my healing came through my relationship with my sister. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, you're going so far. This is where I was saying a lot of my healing was emotionally. I was going through stuff, and I was going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. When you got a lot of responsibility, sometimes you don't take out time to deal with certain things, or mentally, emotionally. And I had a lot of baggage that I had accumulated over a long period of time. That's from being a leader, being somebody on the social media, me just dealing with everyday life personally and dealing with people, and that I realized I had accumulated a lot of emotional, even when I was going through with Minister Mario and his health situation. When you dealing with all these different types of things, you start accumulating stuff. And now I'm able to release a lot of the stuff that I was carrying emotionally, mentally, carrying that stuff in my body, carrying that stuff in my chest, carrying that stuff on my mind. And it allowed me to get to a point now that I don't, hello, how you doing? I don't allow certain things to linger. I'm getting to the point where I'm selecting who I help, how I help them, how much of my time, how much of my energy do I give to this individual. Before I give people the benefit of the doubt, I go all in 100. No, because if they ain't willing to fight for themselves, then I'm not going to put out more than they put out. And I'm not going to put their problems on me as though those are my problems. I'm here to assist you. I'm here to help you get to certain places, but I'm not here to carry you. And that's something that I had to learn as a Sagittarian. We love going in and helping people and then eventually taking over and making it like it's our situation. And when you get stressed out over somebody else's stuff, that's not good. I don't care who you with. I don't care if you mama, daddy, brother, sister, cousin, apostle, pastor, teacher, evangelist, tata, mambo, who gone. I don't care. You have no business assuming people's karma or their situation more than them. If they want to come out this situation, they'll do what it takes to come out those situations. If they'll listen. A lot of time because let me say this, a lot of time people learn your character enough to know that all I got to do is tell him or her what I'm going through and they gonna fix it. They gonna make it their problem, even though it's my problem. And people have learned that I'm a type of person that I will assume a lot of unnecessary stress and problems that ain't even mine, trying to help other people. I had to learn. I'm 53 years old, still having to learn that. And then when I'm going through, they goes. When I'm dealing with their stuff, they don't went on about their business. And that ain't their fault. That's my fault. I'm not going to co-sign for you like that. I will help you as far as you helping yourself. I will fight for you as far as you willing to fight for yourself. I'm not going to waver in the things that God is doing in my life in order for you to get something in your life. All right? I see y'all. I'm gonna be on YouTube at 12 o'clock. If you ain't following me, subscribe to my YouTube channel.